The Masque of the Red Death. By Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, born as Edgar Poe, an American writer, poet, editor, and critic, was born on January 19, 1809 in Boston. As his parents abandoned him, he was taken in by John and Frances Allen of Richmond, Virginia. He attended the University of Virginia but left after a year. In 1827, he published his first collection, Tamriane and Other Poems, credited only to a Bostonian. Then he focused to prose and worked for literary journals and periodicals. His works influenced literature around the world, as well as specialized fields such as cosmology and cryptography. Died on October 7, 1849 at the age of 40 in Baltimore. The Masque of the Red Death. The Masque of the Red Death, originally titled The Masque of the Red Death, a Fantasy, is a short story published in 1842 in Graham's Magazine. Adapted in many different forms, including a 1964 film starring Vincent Price. It follows many traditions of Gothic fiction. Story follows Prince Prospero's attempts to avoid dangerous plague known as the Red Death. It attempts to identify the true nature of the eponymous disease. Summary. The story opens with the narrator stating the Red Death had devastated the country and none can hide from it. Blood was its quest and caused sharp pains, and sudden dizziness and death occurred within half an hour. Prince Prospero was happy as he, along with knights and dames of his court, moved to a secluded castellated abbey. The abbey was amply provisioned and was secured with walls and gates of iron. All appliances of pleasure such as ballet dancers, musician, and wine were there within the abbey. Towards the close of 5th or 6th month, the prince entertained his friends with a masked ball of most unusual significance. There were 7 suites with tall Gothic glass windows. In the eastern extremity, the first chamber was there, and chamber was decorated in blue color. The second chamber was purple in its ornaments and panes. The third chamber and the casements were green in color. The fourth chamber was lighted and furnished with orange. The fifth and sixth are decorated with white and violet colors. The seventh chamber was shrouded in black velvet and the panes were scarlet, a deep blood color. In the seventh chamber there was no light of any kind emanating from lamp or candle. Thus the chamber in the western end produced a wild look, and there were only few to set foot within it. In the western wall there was a gigantic clock with heavy pendulum which chimed every hour. At each lapse of an hour the musicians of the orchestra paused, and after the echoes ceased they resumed their entertainment. The tastes of the Duke were peculiar, and with the wild music the clock chimed 12 and all music ceased. Many individuals among the crowd became aware of the presence of a masked figure which had arrested the attention. The costume and bearing of the stranger neither wit nor propriety existed. The figure was tall and gaunt and shrouded from head to foot, and resembled the countenance of a stiffened corpse. The prince stood in the blue chamber and with huge rage shouted to seize the giant figure and unmask him. He passed through the 6 chambers and approached the extremity of the velvet apartment. Prince Prospero neared the stranger with a dagger. When the figure turns to face him, the prince lets a sharp cry and fell dead. The enraged and terrified revelers surged into the black room and forcibly removed the mask and robe, only to find to their horror that there is nothing underneath. They acknowledged the presence of the Red Death, who came like a thief in the night. One by one the revelers died in the despairing posture of his fall. Darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. Prospero's castle is meant to keep the sickness out, but the stranger, the Red Death, was able to sneak inside, which states that control is an illusion. For more videos, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.